Hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Hello?
Are you here? What is happening? Oh, your connection is shitty.
Well, I was just making sure because
You're still lagging.
oh, well, the intro was still playing and then I heard you. Oh, it's over. I'm just staring at the screen. So,
Yeah, you're
there you
lagging. You
have it.
keep freezing. So, we're having the same issue as last week.
We shouldn't. We shouldn't be having any issues.
Yeah, you keep freezing.
Oh, I'll just
Yay,
start the show.
technology. All right. Well, while Felicia figures that out, welcome back to your Wednesday night conversation. This is live with Fefe Freddy. Felicia has gone to figure out why she's freezing again this week. Who knows? It could be anything. Um, I am obviously not Felicia Fifi Minor, but I am Freddie Prince Charming. And today we've got a packed show lined up for you. Here's what we're talking about. What is the difference between a kink and a fetish? Do we know what the ooh, why is my battery about to die? What is happening right now? Technology is not why? Oh Lord. What is going on today? Oh my goodness. My thing says it's charging, so hopefully my laptop does not die. So anyway, sorry about that. What is the difference between a kink and a fetish? The fascist in chief addresses Congress. That was super fun, and more. So, quick question for our audience while y'all are joining in. What is something sort of adventurous or outside the box you've explored or would be open to exploring in the bedroom? All the things. All right, take care of the housekeeping. Hopefully, Felicia comes back soon and gets that situated. Technology is super fun. We don't know why the last couple weeks have been a pain in the ass for her. I have no idea. But if you want the VIP treatment, you can get exclusive content on our Patreon at patreon.com/let's live with Fifi and Freddie. I almost did it this time. If you join the closer look and up tiers, you get merch and swag and all sorts of fun stuff. There's stickers, mugs, t-shirts, tote bags, all sorts of fun things that if you hang out for a few months, you will get those things sent to you by Patreon, not even us. So you don't have to worry about us getting busy and sending you things. So that's always super handy. We'd like to thank our current patrons Brandon, Cassandra, Chris and Michelle, Dee, Drake Jensen and Michael, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Joan, Laura, Leanne, Madam Askew and the Grand Arbiter, Nicole, Patricia Mason, Shannon, and William. Of course, a huge shout out to Wigs of a Kind for supporting us this season. Felicia's usually wearing a Wigs of a Kind wig. I am not wearing a wig this evening. I wish I could get him to sponsor things because oh my god, I would wear the shit out of all of his crowns. If you would like to support us in one way or another, if you have items or if you have services or if you have whatever and you would like to be a supporter of the show, send us a message. We'll figure out how that happens. um all right, let's talk about the weekend. I think Felicia went and actually restarted, so hopefully that will help and she will be back shortly. um I hope my thing is okay. We are working. Okay, making sure I am all plugged in and good to go. The energy electricity goblins for some reason are, but it's fine. We're just gonna go ahead and keep doing the thing. So we had drag bingo and cats at Phoenix Cat Cafe on Friday, and that's always a good time. And I think that this time around was even more so. We had a couple of regulars from way back who they used to come fairly often, She actually brought her son for his 16th birthday to Cat Bingo 5 years ago. Um, and it was crazy because she brought him back like on Friday, and all of a sudden he's 21. Like, what? Like, how did that even happen? Um, it was crazy because, like, I remember his 16th birthday. Like, it was, but they were. It was so much fun. The crowd was great. People were having a good time. It was fun. If you haven't gone to one of our cat bingos and you are, if you're feeling flush, our next one is in May, I think. Double check that. But I highly recommend going at least once because it's fun and it does benefit a nonprofit and a rescue and and all that good stuff. But yeah, that was that was fun. On Saturday, myself and my partner and our daughter and a couple of our friends went down to the Melrose Street Fair. Uh, which was fine until all of a sudden the wind got crazy and we got hit with a dust storm. That was no fun. All of a sudden, everybody and their mother started like. You see them all sort of casually leaning on their tarps and things because it was blowing everywhere. Things were flying. People were losing their tarps. People were losing their merchandise. It was it was insane. It was crazy. Um, no idea. It was like it came out of nowhere. It's like we're sitting there and all of a sudden we look around and it was literally like uh it was like just like 365 degrees. It was just like dirt. There was no visibility. All you could see was like just clouds and shit. It was like, oh no. So once that started happening and the dust started going crazy, we're like, no, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bounce out of here because I don't feel like sitting there in a dust storm and chewing on dirt. And, if you're not from Arizona, these dust storms are not fun. They get really crazy really quick. A lot of times they will come out of nowhere, and it's one of these things where sometimes it'll bring a little bit of rain, but not enough rain. So what'll happen is these dust storms will come in and bring all this dirt, and then it'll drizzle enough to turn the dirt into mud, especially the dirt that is sitting on your car. So, like, I literally just ran my car through a car wash because it was already covered in fucking dirt from the last week or so when we had a whole bunch of shit flying around. So I'm like, okay, I have to get rid of this dirt. It drives me crazy. Like, we don't have a garage, so I understand that dirt happens. So every so often, I'm like, I'm just gonna go and like get the cheapest car wash just to kind of get the dirt off, right? I literally just did that. Like, I think it was Thursday, maybe. I think it was Thursday that I went and was like, okay, I have to do this. I can't handle the dirt on my car anymore. And then now I have dirt all over my fucking car again. So thank you, Arizona, for that. That was fucking dumb. On Sunday, oh my god, if you're breathing in these dust storms, you end up, especially like if you're wearing contacts, oh, it is miserable. You get dirt up your nose, you get dirt in your teeth. Like, it's not fun. Your clothes are covered in dirt and it's not fun. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. um Sunday, I had the opportunity to judge the Mr. Arizona US of A MI Classic pageant. For those of you that are not aware, I am I'm an alumnus, I guess. I've been involved in the US of A MI pageant system in one way or another since its inception in 2008. Um, I competed at the very, very first US of A MI pageant in Oklahoma in 2008. Had no idea what I was doing. We didn't have king pageants out here. Like, we didn't really, so a few of us went and we were just like, let's see how this goes. We don't know. It was what it was. And the second year in 2009, I went back and competed as the very first Mr. Arizona US of A MI. Um, and then I went back in 2015 as the very first Mr. US of A MI Classic, which basically just meant that I was old. And then went back again in 2019, and that's when I won the national Mr. US of A MI Classic pageant. And then I held that title for 84 years. Um, I understand it's always hard. Pageantry is a risk, and I think that a lot of people don't understand that pageantry is a risk, especially if you as a promoter. Um, and especially, I think a lot of kings have been kind of turned off by pageantry over the years, which is a shame because I enjoy pageantry. I do. I like the competition. I like that it kind of forces me to think outside the box and really kind of push myself. Um, so, but as a from a promoter standpoint, you always hope that you have multiple contestants. Fortunately, there was only one this time around, but he's very excited and he's very gung ho, and I'm sure that considering he only has about 4 weeks, 6 weeks or so to prepare for nationals, I'm sure that he's very eager. So and he's got a lot of resources to be able to use here. So I'm sure that between his being raring to go and the promoters, um, I'm sure that by the time he gets to nationals, he'll be okay. It's always a crapshoot. You never know who's going to show up and who's going to win and who's going to, so it is. We saw Wicked at Gamage last night. It was the first time for my partner and our daughter. It was like the, I don't know, 11th or 12th time for me. So I've been there, done that. I've seen it, but I I still love it. The second act is still my favorite, and they'd never seen the second act, so like they've listened to like the soundtrack, and like my kid has kind of like watched some of the bootleg like recordings from like stage plays and things, but you never really seen it. So my partner had no idea what was going to happen. So that was that was fun. But the cast was fantastic. I cried pretty much all the way through it because that's what I do. But oh my fucking god! So we're sitting there, right? And we must have been uh, probably a good 10 minutes or so into um, the first act. Like no one mourns the wicked has already like been doing the thing, like it's already done, like it's already we're at least 10 minutes into the first act, and all of a sudden behind me in the row this woman decides to walk in and she's going clack 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 clack, oh my god, excuse me, I'm so sorry, like loud. She wasn't even trying to be quiet. This bitch was loud and her heels were loud and she was drunk. And I'm listening to her and I'm like, oh my god, how old is this woman? Like I'm thinking to myself, she's got to be like 20s, maybe 30s, but and she's laughing at the most inappropriate times. Um, like when during the scene when Dr. Dillamond flips over the chalkboard and it says animals should be seen and not heard. That is not comedy. Like that is not supposed to be funny. And she's back there cackling. And she's like, oh my god, animals, ha ha, that's so funny. And I'm like, oh my god. When Elphaba was born, like she's cackling at that because they told her to like take it away. I'm like, oh my god, this fucking woman. I had no idea what she looked like. All I knew is that I kept turning around and like because it was I'm giving her the dirtiest fucking looks you could possibly imagine every time she made a sound. And when during intermission, I left to go pee, came back, and I'm like, oh my god, this woman has got to be in her 60s with another fucking glass of wine. She was wasted. And like commentary, cackling, laughing during the entire time. I'm like, oh my god. There were some times that I swear to God, there was one time I can't remember what God, I don't remember what scene it was, but I was holding the program in my hand, and I literally, like, she either said something or laughed really loud, and I literally almost turned around and went bam. Like, it was I I
Oh my
seriously,
god.
like, I turned around and it was like it. I felt my arm going back. I swear to God, I was gonna hit her with the fucking program because the bitch would not shut up. And I swear to
Nobody else complained?
Oh, there were people. Well, the dude next to me was like asleep and snoring, so that was super fun too. He was like making all sorts of old man noises,
What?
and I'm like, why are you even here? Like, why? Why are you even here? And then her friends back there, I swear to God, if any of my friends ever came to something like that with me and they were acting like that, I'd be like, no, you gotta go. And we are never doing this again. That was embarrassing. No, we are
Yeah.
never doing this again. I was, oh my God, I could not fucking believe that this was happening. It was, oh my God. Yeah, we were going to kill her. And I literally, like, I kid you not, like, I felt myself go back to, like, smack her with the fucking rolled up newspaper. I, mm,
So, I have only experienced that, like, once, and they've often removed people in my
the
experience.
part of the problem, I think,
Um
is that we were, like, right in the middle. So it would have been really hard for anybody to
Oh,
get to her.
well, sometimes when I get, like, the matinee, I get the, like, tickets that
Yeah.
are up high. So, I don't think they really care if they interrupt the people up there. They're like, "Oh, excuse me, let's just go ahead and get rid of the
I
riffraff."
was,
Because I think even the sound carries up
mhm.
there when people are
Oh, it was, I was about to kill this fucking woman, I swear to God. And the fact that she was older and the fact that her friends didn't check her ass, oh my God.
oh.
Like, if
Or were they too embarrassed to even be like,
there was a
"Hmm,
little girl who was like maybe 7 or 8 sitting in front of me that was more well behaved than this fucking woman was. Like, uh,
oh,
mhm. And in more positive
yikes."
news, I finally finished a mix that has been plaguing me for weeks. It was one of these mixes.
Oh, you
Oh my God, it was one
did?
of these mixes that I've literally been putting off and putting off and putting off and putting off because it was like, oh God.
It's only 2 weeks
I
away.
what's
It's
what's
fine.
funny is that I don't have to lip syncing. It's there's puppetry involved, but the
Oh,
fact it was just it's a more it's more of a complicated mix.
it's involved?
And but it went when I started looking at things for like to put in the mix, it totally went left and took it is completely different than what I had originally imagined, but it's a little unhinged, but it works. So it's fine. It's
Hmm.
fine. How was your weekend?
It was good. I have paused all the devices in my house. Um, I'll have to get that figured out. And I hate the price for the extension thingamabobbers. Um, those work really well, because we have some of those
Mm.
at work, but I don't wanna pay for them. So if you wanna sponsor,
I might have one.
some
I might
things
have
for
one
us.
actually that I don't use because it wouldn't
Oh,
work
yeah?
in here. It didn't boost it enough from the other house, like from the house to the drag cave. So I think I have one that I
Oh.
could potentially give you.
Ooh.
I will
Oh.
see if I can find it.
Okay, 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 okay. We'll see what happens. Because I think potentially you can hardwire through
Yes,
those
yes, you
as
can.
well. So, instead of having like a 100-foot,
Right, which degrades
cable
the
through
longer
my
it is
house.
anyway. So,
Yeah.
so
So we have the same problem, but, my weekend was good. We, um or I had drag bingo at Drink Me Tea Room, which, ended up being sold
nice,
out, and, I got to see Navi Ho and
nice.
Blue. Um, haven't seen them in forever,
I know. I only ever
and
see like
so,
Navi in like passing, like out and about, like very rarely.
well, just busy being Miss Cobalt, whatever year this is. Because it seems like the longest 2 months have turned into a year. And then Friday, of course, we had drag bingo. I would say that I was impressed with the spread that our guests brought for drag bingo and cats. They definitely brought a full spread of not only food but also drinks. We often have to like make light of people that are like, "Oh, we are being so good." And I was like,
I
but this time we had to like be like,
for the
"Oh,
folks that aren't aware, the cat cafe is BYOB during things like that.
mhm.
So we we bring like people, right, we encourage people
Encourage."
like bring a beverage, even if it's not necessarily an adult beverage. You can bring any sort of beverage. So people, our regulars, know
They were
this,
so
and
kind.
they will seriously bring like bottles of wine and
Oh, we had some
Woo!
top
We
shelf
had
ladies.
what was it, uh the coffee tequila, the Patron. It was the Patron, the
Mhm.
coffee Patron.
Mhm.
We had like full spreads of like charcuterie and like veggies, and meats and
Like
cheeses and
not just
crackers.
like not just cheese, but like different
Yeah,
varieties of cheese, and I was
it
like,
was it was great. And I told the people about our regulars that came back, like when after like being there for like their son's 16th birthday.
mhm.
He's now 21. Like, this is
Ooh.
crazy. I
We're old
know.
now. Oh, well, mm, there was a presumed gentleman there.
Yeah.
Um, Gentleman loosely. Um, so, um, that said he was old
He said he was
and
really old. He said he was
pair
really old.
yeah, and I was like, "Well, you look about our age." So and turns out that he is around
He's
our age,
46.
but, um, he, also said that he was a bingo
Right.
expert.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if anything serves us right, anybody comes to our events that says that they are an expert at anything, I have come to the conclusion that statistically, they
No.
are not.
No.
Mm-mm, not
No.
at all. So, let's refrain from the word expert when you come to an event, and then just wait it out, and then you can say that like at the end of the night if you win a couple times or something. I don't know. I don't or just refrain. Just refrain. Let's just keep things wholesome. And then I seem to have missed a group of you uh, at the Melrose Street Fair because I was there for a while. Um, Walked around twice. It's a great way to get the kids to take a nap. Um, um, so yeah, and they love seeing all the kings and the queens and there in betweens, and so we did not go into the spaces, but they were walking around. Um,
Yeah, by the time we
and
got there, most of the kings
I
and queens and stuff were already probably in like Stacy's and the Rock and Front.
well, it was like toward. So I was there from before 11 because got there so we could find a spot, and then left about
Oh,
one
you were there.
thirty.
See, we got there probably just as you were leaving.
Oh,
Yeah, we got
what
there a little
clue?
bit later in the afternoon.
Um, Well, somebody said they had gotten there, like, at the same time we did, and I was like, "Well, I didn't see you," and we walked around twice. So, either we were doing this the whole time or I don't know. There was a point where we sat down and ate, but
We
I can't
we
imagine.
left. We were gonna eat, but then that's when the wind got
Mhm.
crazy and the dust got crazy. So we were like, you know what? We're just gonna take the
Mm.
kids home, and then we're just gonna go get food somewhere else because.
Oh, because I was gonna say, I know you like a
I
good
do
food
like a
truck,
good food truck,
depending on the
but there was
food.
like nothing was with the wind and everything. Nothing was like I don't really want to sit here and eat while dust is being
Mhm.
blown in my food.
You don't like a little
Yeah,
grit with your food?
like, yeah. So we opted to go away. Yeah,
Mm,
so,
mm,
it's fine. Yeah, it's
okay,
fine.
okay. And then I bought so for a while now, I have wanted a, like, bench you put at the edge of your bed, but
A
not I don't want it
bench?
at the edge of
Oh,
my
a
bed because
bench.
yeah, yeah.
I was looking at your thing.
And
I was
then
like, "Why is a
so,
bench?"
we were at the street fair, and there is a upholstery
Mhm.
place, I suppose. I didn't ever notice. I've never noticed, my apologies. Um, and so they had this beautiful chair that he had reupholstered, and it was a Barbie chair. I won't say I almost got it. I
Mm.
wanted it, but it was about $475, and I don't have $475. And so, I Scott got me this, bench that is about this big, enough for my waist side, um, because every time I go to put on, like, my nylons or put on my shoes, for goodness sake, I've been looking for a place that is, like our chairs are, like, too high, the new couch is too high, my bed is too high, and so, like, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, "Okay, do I just sit on the floor and see if I can get up later?" Or, you know and we know how
Right.
that's gonna go. And so, he got me this bench, and I have used it already. I'm like, "Yes, I can sit down." It's at, like, a perfect height where I can sit down, put on my shoes, uh, and I know that somebody's gonna say, like, "You coulda sat," and I'm like, "No, but my
No,
bed's
I
too
get it.
high."
I can't sit on my bed to do that really either if it's something that I need to like when
Your bed is higher
I
than
have
mine. I can't imagine.
like my the boots that I wear for the Ren Fair, I can't sit on the bed and do it because the bed is too high. Um, the
Yeah.
couch isn't quite the right height either. Plus, it's really squishy. So for
Mhm.
me to be able to put my boots on, I either have to sit on a dining room chair or I can sit at
Mm.
the I can sit on our like giant coffee table because it's sturdy enough so I can sit on that and that puts me at the right height to be able to put these boots on. But because of the way that the boots have to go on, I can't just like sit on the bed and be like, I'm just gonna lace these up real quick. That's not how that works.
Mm-mm. So, yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. No, can't sit on the floor
Mm-mm.
anymore. Once upon a
Yeah,
time.
nope.
Eh, yeah. So, I said restful Sunday, but you know what
Mm.
that means. I have kids, so keeping them entertained while doing laundry and getting all the other things ready for the week. So, yeah, sorry about the glitchy glitch.
It's better now, so hopefully it stays better.
Well, I paused every device, so I hope that nobody needs
They shouldn't, and
anything.
Scotty should know better. It's been 10 years, more than 10 years.
I set it for 2 hours, so we should be done by then,
Probably.
I think. Uh, but yeah, good weekend, good weekend.
Alright.
What are we getting into?
Ooh, we're getting into some stuff. All right, y'all. So
Ooh.
tonight on the tip, I decided that we're going to. And this is kind of based on the whole like kinks are hereditary or whatever the hell it is that the kids are saying. But
Oh.
um,
If you listen to us on our Patreon, you know.
so I decided that tonight we're going to talk a little bit about kinks versus fetishes. Um, The folks will
Mm.
often use both terms sort of interchangeably, but there are actually some differences between a kink and a fetish. And I think that sometimes it's important.
So they're not
Uh,
interchangeable.
there's some overlap. Like there's a Venn diagram. There's some overlap, but
Oh.
there are distinctions between them really, and they're not really interchangeable. Like they're kind of but again, whatever. Um, so a kink, if we're talking about kinks, is a sexual
Mhm.
interest or preference that is considered unusual or not mainstream. Can be an activity, it
Oh.
could be an object, situation that causes sexual arousal, may not be a part of someone's sexual routine. A fet
How you feel?
I will
Mm.
elaborate in a moment. A
Mhm.
fetish is a more intense or persistent attraction to a specific object, body part, or activity. And you may need the object of the attraction to be present for arousal, can be a significant part of someone's sexual identity or lifestyle. So here's some key differences and explaining this a little bit more. So
Mhm.
the intensity. A fetish tends to be a little more intense and persistent than a kink. Frequency. Kinks may be occasional or situational and is something you choose when, where, and with whom to include it, while fetishes are often integrated as a regular part of someone's sex life and may need to be included in all sexual experiences. Um,
Hmm.
Object centered. So fetishes usually focus on a particular object or body parts. Kinks can have a broader scope. And like it's so think of it as like something someone likes to do versus something someone has to do in a sexual situation.
Hmm.
So some examples
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
kinks.
I'm listening.
Some examples of kinks are things like wearing lingerie, some role play, various BDSM activities like impact play, cuckolding, voyeurism, exhibitionism. These are things that, for most people, don't have to
Mm.
happen at every sexual encounter.
But if it does, then it turns into a
If it,
kink.
if it, no, if it happens at every sexual, like if you have to be in a public place in order to get off, that turns into a fetish.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if you're just okay with like being at like a swingers club or something, and the
Mhm.
occasional exhibition voyeuristic kind of thing, that's more of a kink. It's not something that
Mhm.
has to be done all the time in order for you to enjoy sex, if that makes sense.
I see.
With
I see.
fetishes, and if you talk to somebody with a legitimate fetish, you'll see that a lot of times these are things that have to be incorporated almost every time. So obviously, talk about fetishes, one of the first thing that comes to mind is feet. And a lot of people with like feet fetishes have to work that
Mhm.
in every time they have sex. There has to be some sort of either foot worship or a foot job or something. Otherwise, they won't be able
Interesting.
to enjoy sex really. Um, Wearing nylon is a fetish. Pregnancy is a
Hmm.
fetish. There are people who
Ooh.
literally get off only with pregnant people.
So, uh,
It's a thing. It is a thing. It is 100% a thing.
so, mm,
Wearing latex, some bondage, jock straps. So this is why there's a little bit of like crossover, because there are some people that need to have that sort of that bondage experience in order to get off. But
mhm.
bondage can also be a kink that happens sometimes to enhance things
Hmm.
once in a while.
Well, I don't think I have any kinks or fetishes then.
I know that like I don't really have any fetishes. There's nothing that like I have to have, like, oh my god, I have to have this thing happen, or I can't enjoy sex unless this thing is involved, or whatever it is. Like I don't really think I really have a fetish in that sense. Uh, I mean,
Mhm.
I have plenty of kinks, and we've talked about like impact play, voyeurism, exhibitionism, toys. Um,
Okay, so
right,
maybe I do have
right,
some
and
kinks, but
and
I don't have any
right, and I mean, keep in
fetishes.
mind that when it comes to like kinks, what one person may consider a kink, another person may consider pretty vanilla. Like toys, as far as like insertables and things like that, I don't necessarily consider a kink. For me, that's like whatever. I feel like everybody should have a toy, because when you start
Why
getting
not?
into like some of the bigger toys, or some of the ones that are a little more elaborate or specific for things other than just like, here's your
Oh, like we were
right,
talking about
right. You
tentacles.
know, your average sort of dildo butt plug vibrator kind of thing. I'm like, I don't find that a kink, but other people might. If you are more of like a vanilla kind of person, and maybe you're not super adventurous when it comes to sex. Maybe you're not like, this has to
Mm.
be, I don't know, oh no, look, he spanked my butt once, he, and it's like, if
Mhm.
you're someone who is not really, you know doesn't do those things very often, then maybe a dildo or a vibrator or whatever you use during sex is kinky to you. So we don't kink shame. I'm just saying that for me,
Interesting.
those things aren't kinky necessarily. Um, so like I said,
Hmm.
it's a matter of maybe the bigger toys.
Or maybe a level of what you're looking
Maybe, yeah,
for?
but again, like it's fetishes are different in that sense, where
Mhm.
you and if you look up, like, I wouldn't recommend looking up fetish videos. It can get, especially if you're especially if you are more vanilla, just
Um,
be very careful what um but and it could be, a fetish could be anything that you need to make sex happen, or make an orgasm happen, or make sex
uh-huh.
enjoyable for you. But it's something that pretty much has to be there all the time. um that could even be
Hmm.
porn, unless you have porn in the background. You can't get off unless
So,
you are handcuffed to a bed. You can't get off unless someone's feet is in your face. So
um, so if people need to have sex or I say need very loosely, um, with other people, is that a fetish?
like, if like, elaborate a little bit.
I'm not thinking like the addiction. I'm thinking like,
So you have to have
um,
sex with somebody who is not your partner, or you have to have multiple partners?
I don't know what I'm asking then. This got very elaborate very quickly.
I don't know.
But here we learn, we don't judge. I would consider myself very vanilla. Um, from when we first started, I definitely have grown. Uh, but I feel like there is a certain type of people that have to that get some kind of like validation or I don't know what to call it, that they have to have sex with other people. Like they can't just be satisfied with, you know, being alone or
so
I don't know how to form the question.
so like, they can't
You
get
know what I'm talking
off
about?
by getting themselves off. Okay.
Correct.
I don't know if that is necessarily a fetish or a lack of understanding of your
I
own
watched a documentary on
body
this once.
necessarily. Like it could be like if you have to, if you don't even attempt to like get yourself off and you have to have
Mhm.
sex with somebody else, that could be a fetish. But if it's one of these things where like you try to get yourself off, but you can't get yourself off, so you
Mhm.
have to have sex with somebody else so they can get you off. I don't I don't know that that would be a fetish. It might be, um, but I almost feel like
Hmm.
that is just a lack of
Not knowing
right.
your body.
Um,
Let it be known it's not me. So, I'm just
and I mean,
and if
I
it
think
is
I think in some sense it could be considered a fetish depending on I think the context. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Mhm.
if it's one of these things where like if you feel like you have to have
Just the
right,
cobwebs.
like if
Get
you have to
out.
have sex with somebody just to like feel something, it could if you have to have sex with other people in terms of like a like cuckolding situation or um that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing, that could be more of a fetish. But I think that like Willie said, it could be more of like a mentality kind of thing. It could be like you just don't necessarily get yourself as well as you think somebody else can get you, which again, I think just could be a potential lack of understanding.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's just
Mhm.
me.
Mhm. Some people can't get off if they aren't emotionally connected
There
to
is
their
that some people
partner.
that
That
would
is
be sort of a
correct.
demisexual kind of um that would be like if you
Mhm.
were
Mhm.
demisexual, you have to have an emotional connection with somebody before you like can have sex and enjoy the sex. Um and that's that's a thing. But that gets into sexuality and things as opposed to fetishes and kinks and the things. So
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
that starts
Mhm.
branching off into some of the other things that we've talked about before. But yes.
Correct. Watch all 300 and something episodes. You're welcome. Oh, that's interesting. 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 I love it. I love it. I love it. I would say fetishes are the people that randomly add drag performers um, on Facebook because I get the most interesting messages.
Do we know the hanky code? We
Yes,
talked
we
about the hanky
do.
code at length. I have educated on the hanky code. Don't you worry. Um, um,
But yeah,
yeah, there like I said, there are some overlaps when it comes to fetishes and kinks and things.
I would say that I have no idea. I guess I need to do some research to find out what fetishes are, what fetishes there are out there.
A
Hmm.
lot, a
I'll have to
lot.
read up.
Willie, you're good.
Welcome, Willie.
You're good. Don't worry about it. You're good. All right.
Oh, are we? Do we have to?
If anybody,
Dang.
look, if y'all need to go get a drink, this is a good time to do it because we're about to talk about some shit.
So every time we say dump truck or orange or
Twiddler.
fascist
Right.
or Congress,
You're probably
you can
gonna
take a
need
drink.
either an alcohol or some cake or something as we go through this. So
If my friends from bingo are watching, just remember to drink your tequila slowly. If you're drinking the margarita on the rocks, which was delicious, um, drink it slowly. Uh, uh, but here we go. Take a deep breath. And you said no. So anyway, it has been an interesting week. In the news, I felt overwhelmed by the news this week because a lot of things are moving lightning speed, and that's how they like it. That's how they want it. And um,
It's hard to keep up.
yeah,
It's
so
it's it's hard to keep up.
last night, dump truck took a liking to speaking to Congress, which I've never cringed so much in my
I
life.
can't watch anything that he does because literally the sound of his voice makes me physically ill, and nothing he says is
Mhm.
worth listening to. I will catch highlights
So I
video.
tried
I
to
can't do it.
so I'll be honest, I only watched, like, the first 10 minutes, and I wondered, "Why are they
No, I
clapping?"
was at Wicked. Thank God. Nope.
So, I have seen bits and pieces of this, and bless Freddie's heart, he wrote this, and so I am going to, uh, take this as it is and try not to go too off the rails because shit, we're already there. Anyway, so dump truck addressed Congress last night, um, with mm, with the weirdest like entrance um that I've ever seen. It's almost like mm, you know how somebody doesn't realize like they have food in their teeth, but then they just keep doing what they're doing. This is what that felt like to me. And you're like, why are they clapping for this person? And cheers to those, because there were a lot of folks, Democrats, that were holding up signs. I read a headline today that said it's too late for Democrats to organize a flash mob. Um, anyway, so during this, Representative Al Green, not the singer, saw that on Facebook. So yeah. I I'm not sure that Al Green would have been the singer would have been the appropriate placement for this, but Representative Al Green was ejected for interrupting the speech. Um, like I said, Democrats held signs that said "Save Medicaid," "Protect Veterans," "Musk steals." How do you say that name?
Rashida, I think it's Tlaib. I think
Talib.
Tlaib. I think.
Forgiveness for mispronouncing because I most of the time do. Um, held up a whiteboard behind dump truck with commentary in real
It was.
time.
I saw clips of it. I was like, this is
And
fantastic.
um, she should go to our sex trivia the way she was doing it. It was amazing. Um, some quotes, like when he was talking about certain things, said that's a lie and this isn't normal. The one that was plastered all over the place, headline, she got a lot of screen time. I think she got more screen time than
She was
he did.
fucking brilliant. Directly
Um,
behind him with a whiteboard, just until they took it away from her.
yeah. So I saw some news publications that just had her right
Mm-hmm.
there. And I was like, yes, this is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. This is beautiful. It's not like, like usually when they give they speak in front of Congress, it's like that beautiful
Right.
background of like the American
Right.
flag. Nope.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
In fact, I think this in my heart replaces Nancy Pelosi going like
Oh,
this.
100% replaces the golf clap. Um, I until they took the whiteboard away from her, she was on that shit. She was just like, nope, this is bullshit. This is also bullshit. This isn't fucking normal. This is also bullshit. And then they took the whiteboard away from her. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Like
Give
in
it back
real
to her.
time.
Give it back. Give it back to her.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the topic of affirmative action and trans rights, quote, we're getting wokenness, because I think that's how he said it, out of our schools and out of our military. It's already out. It's out of our society. We don't want it. Wokenness, I'm saying it the way he said it so that you get the authentic pronunciation. If you don't believe me, you
I'm
can
good.
watch it. Go ahead. Uh, wokeness is bad and we don't want it. What is so I was talking to somebody. The threat of woke is just like was it Sharon, what's her name?
Yeah.
Jane Fonda, said woke is being able to be there for
Right.
everyone and being able to give a shit about
Right.
everyone. And so this weaponizing a word that folks like me came up with
Mm-mm. And
makes
let's
me
let's let's be
feel.
clear. When he's talking about getting wokeness out of our schools and out of our military, he is specifically talking about trans people. He is specifically talking about getting trans people out of society.
Mm,
That is like is literally what he is talking about.
why is he so focused? What did what did trans people do
Well, okay, so
to him?
I saw a clip the other day of the whole like trans women in sports. And the one thing I always think is funny is it's always about trans women in women's sports and never about trans men because misogyny, you know.
Correct.
Um,
Mhm.
but they were talking about trans women in college sports, and the dude was talking to I think the head of the NCAA or whatever it is, the sports thing. Um, and
Oh,
he was asking me, he was
mhm.
like, okay, so how many athletes are there in the NCAA right now? And he was like, oh, I don't know, like right. He's like a 510,000.
510,000.
Okay, and out of those 510,000, how many are trans? Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe 10, 10 maybe less. Oh, so you're worried about 10 or less people out of more than a half a million? You are so afraid and so you are 10 10 people scare you so much that you have to go out of your way to try and erase us. Okay.
So, could it be possible that dump truck has, because he's had his experiences and been sued for his experiences with women. Could it be possible that dump truck has had an experience with a trans
Oh,
person?
it wouldn't surprise me.
That he's going all out of his way because he didn't A, get what he wanted, or maybe he did get what he wanted, but got his heart broken.
It's entirely possible. At this point, anything is fucking possible. He's
Because there
I mean,
has to be,
don't
like,
forget,
I
we are
need
now
to
sending
know.
children to school and then giving them sex changes at lunchtime and then sending them home a different gender.
Uh-huh. Huh?
Yeah. Didn't you know that? Kids are going to school, having a sex change at lunch, and then going home. Yeah. Yep. That's happening. He
That
said
don't
so.
sound right to me.
He said so. And if he says so, it must be true.
Speaking of that, there's a good article. Washington Post? No, that's not it. One of them has like a huge article fact checking the whole speech. So get on
It's
that.
not Washington Post. Washington Post
It's wonderful.
is
Let's
now
see.
completely
He
run
also
by
claimed
Bezos,
that the
which
government spent billions of dollars on making mice transgender.
oh, you're staggering again.
What'd you say?
If you're looking for something that fact checked him, you're stuttering. By the way, it was not the Washington Post that fact checked him, because the Washington Post is owned by Bezos, and Bezos has now said we're just going to kiss Trump's ass. That's what the Washington Post has said. Look for I believe NPR did some fact checking. A few others did some fact checking, but you're stuttering again. By the way, you're starting to lag again.
I have no idea
Nope.
why. I don't know. I can't make it stop. Oh, Willie, that is a huge paragraph. Let's see.
So Willie says, I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than the government doesn't want us to know about. And he thinks the country will bend over to him with the issue. So he's focused on this so he can also pass more BS without us paying attention. We're going to start a world war in one way or another, whether spewing the outright hate or what he's doing in the background. I'm fully prepared for us to end up in a fucking world war, but it'll be fine because, Russia's on our side, along with North Korea and all these other fascist countries. It's fine.
And since you're not human, you won't need to participate in the war anyway.
No, I'm just going to stop paying taxes also, so.
Well, I saw several TikToks and Instagrams that said that, well, I don't need to pay taxes.
Why am I going to pay
Since
federal
you erased the
taxes?
T,
I don't.
there.
Why the fuck am I going to pay taxes? Fuck you. Oh, there you go.
Am I back?
You gonna try and keep going? Yeah, I think so.
Hello? Okay.
Maybe.
Claimed that Biden flew illegal immigrants all over our
No,
borders
illegal
to take over.
aliens. Illegal aliens is what he said. Illegal aliens.
Oh, I didn't know we were going back to that term. Oh,
yeah. He flew illegal aliens.
I love how we're reverting back to old terms. All over our borders to take over towns and schools. I don't know what to say to that. Are they improving the education or anything? I don't know. Are opening up all over the place, which isn't actually happening. Since no automaker has announced any new plants since the tariffs have been introduced, which could add thousands, yes, thousands, to the cost of cars.
Like, I hate to break it to y'all, but
sounds like this
even
is working
American-made cars import things from Canada and Mexico. And It's not. It's
Correct.
not a
Largely from
right,
Mexico.
and not a single fucking car company is like, yeah, we're gonna open up new plants everywhere. Not happening. He's pulling shit
Mm.
out of his ass, completely just.
Speaking of pulling shit out of his ass, apparently
Yeah.
autism is brand new and going from 1 in 10,000 being diagnosed to 1 in 36. Wow. Wow. Um, those numbers are correct, but just like anything else, the increase in diagnosis is due to increased awareness and screening, not because of nowhere.
Right. Like, yes,
So,
the thing is with being on the autism spectrum is that there's no like one clear cut like you know you like there are tests and there are screenings and things, but it's because it's such a spectrum because there's different ways that it manifests. You can't just be like, oh yeah, yeah, but
and they're
20,
discovering
30,
different
40, 50
sides of the
years ago, right,
spectrum all the time.
right, and 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago,
That's crazy.
anybody that was different or slow, remember when people were slow or,
Ooh.
the R word? People
Mhm.
just assumed that they were mentally deficient, thrown into mental institutions when they were probably just on the autism spectrum and process things
Mm.
differently. But because
Correct.
nobody knew it, that kind of thing, they were just whatever. Here's our kid that is just slow, and we're just gonna whatever. And so yes, he was correct on the numbers, but first of all, let's be clear that vaccines do not cause autism. It's already been proven that being on the autism spectrum is often a combination of factors between environmental, genetics, all the things. And it's not a black and white, like, oh, you have a cold, so here's some antibiotics. Like, you can't just, that's not how that
Well,
works.
even science doesn't even work that way because
No.
there's like a million different types of colds, and are we just
The
gonna ignore
flu, the,
science?
the flu keeps mutating, which is why science is important because then you can adapt things like vaccines.
Here we go. I am. Also, there is another measles outbreak in New York City. Um,
Oh, no, it's
to
fine.
it's
Mr.
fine.
Brainworm has a
Did we not
fix
see
for
this
it.
before? We saw this in 2020. Hmm.
Measles? No, no.
No,
You mean the
just the
man?
outbreak, maybe a
Right,
pandemic. Mm,
right. We
I don't know.
already eradicated measles, and now it's back because dickheads don't want to fucking vaccinate their children. So that's super fun.
Yeah, and so um, and quoting. Here we go. You ready? For the first time in modern history, more Americans believe our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction.
Mm.
Do you believe that?
No,
I
no,
don't. I don't. I don't. Yeah. Um, if you get your information from a right wing propaganda, this makes me feel like I feel like I'm going to start to see flyers and posters and things
probably,
that will tell me that if I don't cross the street at a certain time, or if the sun is shining when I go grocery shopping, I'm going to catch a disease or something. I don't know.
probably.
I don't know. Yes, Gabe. What a great time to be alive.
Yay!
And for those that are
Super
lucky,
fun.
Human Services Secretary, this is the other brainworm, right? right?
No, this is the brainworm. He's the only one with a brainworm.
Oh. He's back. He has said we should combat the the measles outbreak with vitamin A, steroids, and cod liver oil. Because, who needs vaccines?
Vaccines are so last year.
And uh, I want to clarify and let you know that during our last pandemic, it was told that our scientific folks were frauds and that weren't going to save our lives, and we were believing the total BS. And I want you to know that that same group of people went and got COVID vaccines.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's
Yep.
that. So if you believe the things that he's telling you, um, I think you are in the wrong place. Because we um I'm sure I'm sure you spoiler alert, don't like ruin his plans, okay? Gabe says I'm surprised that he didn't mention heroin works.
You know what? Please tell people that heroin works.
And then the
Because,
bleach.
right. Let's go back to drinking bleach and
Uh-huh.
heroin, and then maybe we can start weeding people out.
Well,
Because let's be real, the
you'll
people
get
that are
rid
going
of
to
the
fall for that
measles
shit,
with the bleach and heroin combined together. You'll get rid of the measles and COVID and the flu. Then you don't have to
all of
worry about
it.
the vaccines, right?
All of it. Because who needs vaccines?
Yeah.
All of it.
So also, I'm weirded out by the medical professionals that support Donald Trump.
I,
So there's where I am. That wasn't as bad as I
it's been a
thought.
week. It's been a week,
That
and
wasn't
I
as bad
know
as
that
I thought.
we can't cover everything. We can't.
I
Things move so damn fast, and I don't even want. We can't cover everything. Sometimes y'all are gonna have to do some of your own research. But
I
I
will
figured,
say, the thing that I meant to do and should have done is that I should have looked more into the Oscars. Um, I I wanted to ask you, have you heard of this movie that won all the awards?
oh, I think I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
But I hate when
Mm,
I watch the Oscars and I feel like I'm pretty well rounded when I watch movies. Um, that I'm like, what is that? Like, where'd that come from?
yeah, I don't know.
So,
People were kind of mad about a lot of it because apparently there were some things that happened, and people were like, "What?" Like it was weird. I don't know.
hmm
I
including
haven't
that
watched it.
Timothy guy that was like, everybody was like, I voted for him. And then they were like, well, he's clearly going to be the winner. And then,
Mhm. Right.
oops.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that a lot of that shit is. I don't
As a
know.
person that has been disappointed before on awards and things, some especially things of that nature where your friends vote,
Right.
that's like your community of actors voting for you
Right.
and directors, and I understand all that. Um, sometimes it could be wishy-washy. But oh, I don't want to forget his name.
Who?
Costume designer, costume.
Oh, for Wicked. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So I
that
know,
was very well deserved.
yes, and he was very well dressed and looked cute. And I I love, love, love that each person that won. that was the first of some sort that made history address that
Hmm.
on stage. I love that folks like um, damn it, I'm gonna forget names. I'm so horrible at names sometimes. But I love that they use their platform to say like trans people are people and we need to give them
Right.
the rights that they deserve, and saying like I'm the first black costume designer or black
Hmm.
man to be costume designer. Um, so
And
his
not
name
very.
is Paul Tazewell. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
Tazewell. Um, so deserving, and if even just looking at Ariana and Cynthia's wardrobe in the whole movie, you just you can't like just that was mm, it's
Well,
everything.
what I think is interesting is that he obviously was inspired by the costume design of the stage play. So if you've seen the stage play,
Correct.
then a lot of the costume
And
design work in the movie will look awfully familiar.
you tell me if this is true or not. So has Wicked stage won any Tonys for costume design?
I believe so. Let's see. Wicked has won lead actress, costume design, scenic design, original score, best
So
musical,
he
best
continued the
choreography.
I would say he
Yeah.
continued the legacy. They
Yeah.
also Wicked so he was also previously nominated for his work in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. But
Mm,
this is his first time winning.
right.
Um, and I believe Wicked also won like production design, which if you watch, they've released a lot of the behind the scenes, like them actually taking like a train, like none of that is like computerized, and I'm very surprised that it's not as computerized as I thought it was.
Mm,
Um, you know what I mean? And like the train, the the et cetera, that they built, and the actors got to interact with the stuff in real time instead of having it built around them. So
right. Right.
that is amazing. That's all. Sorry, I just felt like
Um,
I dropped the ball on that. But speaking of the Oscars, this is where we will be playing around town. Um, um, on March 20th, um, I will be at Drink Me Tea Room. This is our first time doing it. Um, I have no idea why the child is screaming like this. Um, it doesn't sound like terrifying, but trivia night, Broadway edition.
hmm.
So this will be fun and interesting. Um,
Considering, especially since you're not really a Broadway person.
well,
Why is
I
the
would say
child screaming? Shouldn't they be in bed?
I think he's having a hard time getting her to go to sleep. Um, which usually when we do this, they're in bed. So he may be a little happy that they're awake still. Um, yeah. But I would say not that I'm not a Broadway person. It's just that I was a late comer to musicals and Broadway in general. So, um, you know, I've seen a few. Not as I'm not as well rounded as you are, but I look forward to learning. Um, and then on the 21st, you're at
I
Wow
am
Wow
I, I
Restaurant.
am at Wow Wow WestCon, which is in Tucson at Casino del Sol. Actually, you can get tickets to the Drag and Burlesque show even if you don't have tickets to the con. So if you are in the area and want to come see a really really cool Drag and Burlesque show, go to look for, I don't know what the website is. Look for Wow Wow WestCon steampunk convention. Go to the website, go get tickets. You can get tickets and come watch it. I've got a slew of amazing entertainers that are going to be performing drag, burlesque, all the things. So
Wonderful.
yes. And then on April 5th, I will be hosting and emceeing the Southwest Love Fest block party. So that'll be super fun. If you are poly or if you want to learn more about being poly, look into Southwest Love Fest. It's a great convention. It's very educational. There's going to be all sorts of panels and workshops and things on the polyamorous lifestyle and things like that. And it's a good thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then this has been an interesting experience already. On April 12th, we're going to be doing drag bingo at Shea Cheese. That's Phoenix, right? Or is
Yeah, it's Scottsdale.
Scottsdale?
Mm-hmm.
And the address, we'll have the address soon.
It's like 32nd Street in Shea, but I don't know what the exact address is. But if you look up Shea Cheese on the interwebs, I believe they should have tickets available very soon on their website.
Soon. We
Yes.
hope. Indeed.
Yeah.
And then on the 17th of April, we are back at Gracie's for sex trivia. If you are a self-proclaimed sex trivia expert or a sexpert, please join us. I invite you. I encourage you. I encourage you to join us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Please do. It's like
He
the
says
border.
it's
Sorry,
like
it's the border of Paradise Valley. Whatever. I don't know.
so Scottsdale.
I feel like it's Scottsdale. It's fine. Whatever. 32nd Street in Shea. I don't. Whatever the fuck that is. It's up there.
Yeah, just show up there. Get the tickets. I don't know. GPS. I don't know.
Right.
When I get my stuff together, maybe we'll have more guests on. And then, but until then, thank you for joining us for our Wednesday night conversation. Sorry I wasn't here until like 10 minutes in, but I was here. I was ready to go.
It's not your fault. I don't know what's going on with your internet, but you got to figure that shit out.
The bill is paid, I can tell you that, but maybe I should stop. I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll join from my phone or something. Just kidding. That's weird. And it's worse. Thank you all for watching, whether you watch live or whether you watch on the replay. Share this with your closest friends and your closest relatives who support MAGA. They would love this podcast. And if you're feeling in the mood, please leave us a review. Only 5-star reviews are applicable here. If you're feeling the need to leave lesser than that, don't do it.
Just don't.
Or pretend like you love us and do it and give us a 5-star review.
Just do it anyway.
We'll see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation.
Good night.